Back in the food processing room, I call it now. Used to be an office. But anyway, today we're doing some strawberries and we're doing some ham again in the freeze dryer, but this time a little different. I pre-froze the stuff in the freezer overnight and most of the day yesterday. So I'm starting with stuff that's already been frozen, and I'm going to fire the freeze dryer up now and get it ready, and we'll get the stuff put in, and we're going to see how much less time this takes and also how well it does. Pre-freezing is supposed to help the machine work and call for a lot shorter freezing time because the food doesn't have to be frozen first, it just needs to be dried. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to get this thing fired up and we're going to go get the stuff and put it in. Right now we're cooling the vacuum chamber. It takes about 15 minutes or so, and once it's cooled it'll prompt me to put the food in. And you don't want to let it go very far past this point. I mean, if it says it's ready for food, you better get the food in there, or the machine will start. It goes through some other functions, and I can't remember exactly what they said it does, but it's not good for the machine to sit in a ready mode and you not put anything in it. Alrighty, this stuff's all been pre-frozen. Alright, and we're going to stick it in the freeze dryer here without further ado. Okay, I'm going to load the trays, and we're going to open or close the valve and get those trays loaded and get her going. Now I had parchment paper put on between the trays so when they froze stacked they didn't freeze to each other. And take that off. It's frozen solid, and this should take several hours off this machine's time to freeze dry. And I'm really interested to see how much quicker this is. So anyway, before it thaws out any, we're going to get her in there and get it going. And there we have it. Our food's all in the freeze dryer. Sorry about all the reflections from the light, but yeah, if I go over here you can see a little better maybe. Anyway, we're going to go up here and we're going to hit continue. And away we go. And now it's freezing. Normally this part takes quite a while. It's already saying it's only 52 in there. Down to 51. So this is going to go pretty fast getting it frozen. And like I said, I'll be really curious to see how much quicker this is. And it's really no big deal for me to pre-freeze something. I got a little drawer in our other refrigerator set aside to where we don't put anything else on it. I just put the freeze-drying food, or food to be freeze-dried, on. So we're already down to 46. This thing's going really quick because the food's already frozen. I'm guessing it's going to be in the drying stage within an hour or less. So I'll be back. Alrighty, I can definitely see this is probably the way to go most of the time. We're already down to 2 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, and the machine's only been running 21 minutes and 57, 58, 59, 22 minutes. And we already got her down to, well, it popped back up to 3, but it jumps in between 2 and 3, and then it'll go down and up and down and up, and then it locks and goes the next degree down. But this thing's going to be drying within an hour, like I said, I think. So it would really make a lot of sense for a fella to have, say a couple of drying trays, extra drying trays, and do this. That way you could have some in the freezer freezing and some in the dryer drying. And how much do you really need an extra set of trays? Well, I think it's a great idea because we've been doing quite a bit of freeze drying, my friends, and I just think it's a real good way to put food away for a rainy day, and that's just what we're doing. Harvest right. And you know, there's a link in the description on my page where you can click on that link, and I get credit if you end up buying one, plus you get a really good price. So very cool, my friends, very cool. So anyway, we've got quite a bit of food put away already, and my goal is to have about 3 years worth put away, just because it's nice to take some out camping. It's really nice just to go out there and boil up some noodles and have some of Tammy's homemade spaghetti sauce within minutes after opening the pouch and adding moisture to it, and get it the consistency you want, heat it up, and yum. The ham sandwiches are as easy as throwing them in some cool water, and boom, the ham's regenerated and you're ready to eat a sandwich. Just can't beat it. And it's sure a lot cheaper than that stuff you buy in a store, that freeze-dried food, Mountain House and all them. Whew, it's good stuff, but boy is it expensive. And we can make the same thing with better quality for less than a third. Okay, pre-freezing is definitely the way to go if it's feasible for you and you have the room to do it. We're only 46 minutes into this batch, and we're already down to 2 below zero. So a few degrees below zero more, and we'll be kicking it into drying mode, which is a lot faster than it is otherwise. And normally it doesn't get into drying mode for several hours if you're putting the food in there non-frozen. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're able to pre-freeze your food, it'll speed things up and less work for the freeze dryer, which is good. It's a quality piece of equipment, and it's expensive, you know. I mean, it was in our budget, and maybe it's not in other people's budgets, and they're forced to buy freeze-dried food. But I think if you can afford one of these things, it's probably a good way to go with the way the world is. And I don't know, you can store a lot more food that's lightweight and freeze-dried than you can canned goods. And especially in a situation where you got to travel or do something, lightweight could be a big deal. But just for recreation, just for going camping and stuff and fishing is great. So like I said, pre-freezing is the way to go, I think. And I think I'll do it that way from now on if I can have the time, or if I can. I've got a second set of trays coming just for that reason. And I'll be back as this stuff moves along, and we'll run this batch together. Like I said, we're doing ham and strawberries this time around. So I'm fixing to go to town. I thought I'd look in here, and having 4 more trays coming and pre-freezing your food is definitely the way to go. Look at here. We're only into this hour and 23 minutes, and we're at 23 degrees below zero, and the machine is doing its job, folks. So it's vacuum freezing now, and the next step will be drying. And I think I'm going to try to pre-freeze my food when it's feasible and when I can, to sure cut some time off. It was taking hours to get to this point before, you know, especially because it's so warm here in Arizona right now. Our days are well up around 100 degrees, so having to run the AC in here and everything else, it's, the machine was working a lot harder. And I think it's better all the way around. The machine doesn't work that hard. And so, less hours we put on it, the longer it'll last, theoretically, right? But these things have a pretty good track record, so I don't think I have to worry too much about that. But probably in the winter months, it'd be just as easy just to slip it right in there and let it go. But this time of year, definitely this time of year, definitely pre-freeze your food. Okie dokie. 1 hour and 54 minutes into the cycle, and we are drying. How about that? The vacuum freezing is done, and we are drying. Yep. Pre-freezing is definitely the way to go. Well, things are moving along nicely here. We're 5 hours and 40 minutes into the drying, and it's about done. And that little bit left is going to take probably at least another hour, or maybe a little longer. But yeah, a lot quicker when you pre-freeze. Yes sirree, a lot quicker. So anyway, when I get this done, I'll take it out and we can have a look at it, and I'll get it bagged up, and I'll start another batch of something. And I just learned something interesting, that in Arizona and a lot of other states, by getting a food handler's license and learning about packaging food and how to make it safe for others and whatnot, you can actually offer free-dried foods for sale in Arizona. I know about that. And so a feller could do homemade stuff like this, and some of Tammy's homemade meals and spaghetti and stuff like that, and actually offer them up for people to purchase and take camping on their own, or stash away for later, or whatever they want to do. It's kind of cool. Or you can take special orders where somebody can say they want this, that, and the other thing, and you can do it for them for a fair payment. Kind of neat. Another way to pay off the freeze dryer, other than just having food. So, I don't know. There's a lot of things you don't learn until you actually pick something up and start checking state laws and whatnot. And what prompted me to check is I had a couple people email me and say, hey, that's a nice freeze dryer. I don't think it's in our budget, but would you be willing to sell us some freeze-dried food? And I thought, well, there's a pretty good idea to help soften the blow of the cost of the machine. So I started looking around and found out it's perfectly legal in Arizona. Some states it's not, but in most states it's under what's called cottage laws, where you can prepare and make foods for sale or to give away or whatever you want to do with it. But anyway, we're going to be back when this stuff's done. Okay, here we go, all done. We're going to get to bagging it up here. And we put an oxygen absorber in each bag. They're in there. So here's our ham. Yes, sirree. Yep, ready to put in a bag for many, many moons. And strawberries. They look quite a bit like the regular strawberries still. Kind of neat. Nice and dry. So there you have it. These were pre-frozen, and I think they did a little better. Came out a little faster, I should say, because it helped the machine out by having the stuff frozen first. But anyway, if you like these videos, you want to learn how to freeze dry, and you're thinking about getting one, it's a neat way to put food away and have camping food around all the time. And yep, this is a really neat idea somebody came up with. It works really well for food storage. So if you like these videos, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Make sure you're out.